Good evening and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
Eagle Eye has done a great job.
Welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6.
We are just having a great time here in Auburn, Alabama. The party is not over yet.
Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Good evening, and welcome to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Jillian Byers.
And I'm Hazelrig. Thank you for joining us.
With Election Day just around the corner and no early voting in the state, Alabama residents are preparing for Election Day. Eagle Eye's Sydney Babb has more on this story.
When it comes to United States elections, the state of Alabama has historically had some of the lowest voter turnout in the country, with only 37% of eligible Alabama voters participating in the 2022 midterms. That places the state fifth from the bottom in terms of turnout. Being less than 2 weeks away from the 2024 presidential election, it calls into question why the state of Alabama has such a lack of voter turnout, and it seems there could be several reasons. Two explanations that appear to be intertwined could be that the state of Alabama doesn't offer early voting, as well as the confusing nature of absentee ballots, both of which complicate and narrow the doorway for how much time people have to cast their ballot. Ray Naraki, Auburn University student and first-time voter, explained that they live close enough to their polling location to vote in person, but when assisting a peer in completing his absentee ballot, found it entirely too complicated.
He was very confused about it. He almost didn't vote because it was so confusing. He lived in Georgia. So I think it's just a lot of paperwork and information that just can be a lot confusing for a lot of people, especially young people who don't always have the time to fill out that kind of stuff.
Dr. Mitchell Brown works with the National Association of Elected Officials and is a professor at Auburn University. Even with her background in election administration and teaching courses to volunteers on how to conduct the polls, absentee ballots can be complicated.
I tend to vote absentee, and frequently I'm requesting a ballot from out of state because I'm gone so much, and the process in Alabama is pretty challenging. This is what I do all the time, and I still struggle every time I have to request an absentee ballot.
Another likely reason for the low turnout could stem from non-competitive elections. With Alabama being known for its consistent red wave, Alabamians feel as if their vote will either fall in with a large crowd or be vastly overshadowed.
Probably more important factors, though, are things like the fact that party competition in the state is pretty low. And so as a consequence, without party competition, most people do not turn out to vote, and they're just voting for one candidate from one party. And so a little bit of competition would probably increase voter turnout dramatically.
Auburn University hosted its great debate last week, bringing together students to participate in a discussion of the most pressing issues to voters this election cycle. Held in the Ralph Brown Drawn Library, this event drew a crowd across all political backgrounds. Here's Ben Bradfield with the latest.
Auburn University held its annual Great Debate this Tuesday, just weeks before Election Day, in the library. The college Democrats and Republicans debated on the topics of public policy, foreign affairs, and the economy.
Civic engagement is the most important thing that Americans have, and exercising that early as a college student not only provides you experience going into your political future as an older voter who might be more engaged in issues.
The student-moderated debate featured allotted times to speak and offered rebuttals for students to reply to opponents. Gunn and Thomas Williams represented the college Democrats, while Luke Troutman and Madeline Baer represented the college Republicans. Around 70 students were in attendance.
We had a full house here tonight, and so we provided the opportunity for real students to provide live feedback, and so that's what you're asked to do is, if you don't like something, advocate for change.
Reporting to you from Auburn, I'm Ben Bradfield with Eagle Eye TV.
Last week, Auburn's Sexuality and Gender Alliance hosted a drag camp in collaboration with Pride on the Plains, allowing participants to immerse themselves in the wonderful world of drag. The week-long event took place at Coffee Mafia, a local queer-owned coffee shop. Eagle Eye's Courtenee Webster attended the event and tells us more.
It's Wednesday night and I'm here at Coffee Mafia, but I'm not here for the coffee tonight. Auburn University's Sexuality and Gender Alliance has teamed up with Pride on the Plains to host a drag camp every night this week right here at Coffee Mafia. Let's take a look.
Auburn's Sexuality and Gender Alliance is offering participants a safe and welcoming environment to learn about all things drag from some of the best local drag performers. Saga Officer Jack Friedman explains the planning that went into this fabulous event in collaboration with Pride on the Plains.
We got together with Misfits, which is the local drag group around here, and we know that they did a drag camp before, and we were like, hey, can we join together so we can make, a Saga and like Pride on the Plains drag camp together, because we have a lot of students that we believe would be perfect to be a part of this, and we would love to have this moment to collaborate and work together.
Each night of drag camp focuses on a different aspect of drag, with tonight's session focusing specifically on costume design and customization. The seasoned drag performers that led this session offered professional tips and tricks to help participants with their own drag personas.
It's just really important that once we get to college, we understand that there's more people who are like us. So getting to have these experiences while we're in college is really important to make sure we know that we're not alone and we can express ourselves without being persecuted.
Courtenee Webster, Eagle Eye TV, Auburn's news leader.
Last week, Eagle Eye reporter Alice Estes asked students on the Haley Concourse what they would change about Auburn. Let's hear what the people have to say.
I'm Alice Estes, and today we're out on the concourse asking people what they would change about Auburn.
My name's Mallory Seahorn, and I'm a freshman.
If you had to change one thing about Auburn, what would it be?
I would have to ban the scooters.
My name's Abby, I'm a senior. Ban scooters. I'm sick and tired of athletes trying to run me over on the way to my 8 a.m.
Cam Whitaker, and I'm a junior. 8 a.m.s. Just hate 8 a.m.s.
My name is Babe Rush, and I'm a freshman here at Auburn. I would change the parking situation.
I'm Mary Paige McDonald, and I'm a senior. Maybe the parking situation.
I'm Becky Lodgy, my first year of Auburn here, and just loving it. Wish we had a little bit better parking, though.
Because I can't get anywhere on campus, like park anywhere, so yeah.
I know that poses an issue for a lot of students, so probably that.
Because walking 20 minutes to RO is a little rough when I want to use my car.
My name is Mason Wagner, and I'm a freshman. The downtown traffic is so awful that it's like horrendous.
My name's Caleb Leondo, and I'm a freshman. What would I change about Auburn? Make it a little colder. Yeah, I'm from the north, so I miss the cold weather.
Sydney, and I'm a sophomore. I think I would change the falls coming earlier and like the leaves changing colors.
I'm Cecilia Pleva, and I'm a sophomore. The only thing is like the construction. Honestly, like it's a little distracting in some of my classes.
Spencer, and I'm a junior.
I'm Zach, and I'm a freshman.
I'm Nick, and I'm a sophomore. Another dining hall and like the whole football team.
I gotta go with the football team as well.
I want you to sing, War Eagle.
Dogs deserve a happy Halloween too. To make this happen, New Realm Brewing Company hosted a Howl-a-Ween this past Friday to not only give dogs the Halloween experience, but also to benefit Care Humane Society. The event featured a costume contest and parade for pet owners and their furry companions to showcase their creativity. Attendees voted for their favorite dog costume and chose Hank the Spider as the winner, rewarding him and his owners with a paw trophy and $25 gift card to New Realm Brewing Company. Drew Kostick, head brewer of general manager at New Realm, touches on the deeper meaning behind this event.
There are too few dogs that are adopted, and I was lucky enough to have to adopt a dog. And so when I found Care Humane Society, I knew that it was exactly what I wanted to do, to promote charity and to make our brewery not only part of Auburn University's campus, but part of Auburn, Alabama's community.
Last Friday, Auburn's University Program Council did what they do best in putting on another fun and free social event. In the Melton Student Center game room, UPC held the brawl of a lifetime with their Smash Bros tournament. Beginning at 6 p.m., competitors had the chance to show off their skills and combos to prove they were the ultimate Smash champion. Assistant Director of Finance for UPC Pop-Up Events, Aaron Aldaz, explains why student involvement is so important.
I think student involvement is a really important thing here at Auburn. Many students probably don't feel too super comfortable in some bigger environment kind of events, like UPC does Fall Festival and Mag Ball, which are really big events, and then we also offer some small ones like our video games events, and we just really think that's a great opportunity for people to come out and make friendships and bonds that they normally wouldn't be able to make without this kind of gathering happening. I just really feel like this environment of laughter and encouragement is very great for people to come and have a great time. Mario Kart's more of like a friendly get together, have a good time. People are coming to play for Smash Bros.
The upcoming presidential election has Auburn students excited to engage in discussions about the candidates and their campaigns. This past Tuesday, Auburn's college Democrats held a joint video call with the University of Alabama's college Democrats to join a discussion with congressional nominee Jamari Figures in the Melton Student Center. Auburn student Jack Stoidel, who previously served as a campaign fellow for Figures, helped organize this event.
Especially when it comes to going to the polls and turning out as a voter, you actually have a lot more power in local politics that have way more influence over things that impact your daily life.
When we come back, you'll get a weather outlook for this week from the Plains from Brett Fouts. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Brett Fouts, here to give you your weather outlook for this week on the Plains. Starting with what you need to know for the week, the first thing to know is that those temperatures will finally be starting to feel like true fall weather. There are a couple of warmer days later in the week, but early in the week we're starting to see some cooler temperatures. The next thing to know is that daylight savings time ends on Sunday, so expect those sunsets to start coming an hour earlier. As a matter of fact, sunset for that Sunday, as of now, is expected to be at 4:48, so expect to start seeing temperatures drop sooner in the afternoon than they have been. Lastly, it's expected to be much cloudier this week compared to last, which I don't know about you, but I personally love a nice partly cloudy day, and we're expected to see plenty of those this week. Moving on now to the 7-day forecast. As you can see, the high temperatures steadily rise throughout the week, but with partly cloudy conditions, temperatures shouldn't be getting too high. Halloween on Thursday is shaping up to be a clear day for trick-or-treaters and partygoers. With a high of 82 degrees but no chance of rain, this Halloween looks to be a good one. We have a bit of an outlier here on Sunday with a high of only 78 degrees, marking a difference of 5 degrees from the day before. But other than that, continued high temperatures around the 80s means another week of beautiful fall weather here on the Plains. That's all I have for you today, but when we come back, we'll give you a national update about a voter registration case that made its way all the way to the Supreme Court. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. Starting our national news segment today, we have an update on a developing situation.
A big election case is headed to the Supreme Court. That's after a federal appeals court refused to reinstate a Virginia program to purge non-citizens from voter polls. Sunday's decision by the 4th U.S. Circuit of Appeals comes after a federal judge Friday ordered state election officials to restore the registrations of about 1,600 people. Those people had been removed based on indications they might not be citizens. The judge said the purge violated a federal law that blocks systematic voter rolls removals 90 days before a federal election. The law, however, allows a review of individual registrations. The ruling comes on the heels of a Justice Department victory in a similar case brought against Alabama for a purge program running within the 90-day window. In light of this case, we highly encourage Auburn students to review their voting eligibility.
Hundreds of millions of people around the world are paying close attention to the U.S. election campaign. The outcome can make a big difference in the lives not just of U.S. citizens, but our neighbors as well. With immigration and trade among the hot-button issues in the campaign, it's clear that Mexico has a big stake in whoever wins the November 5th election. CNN's Nick Valencia takes a look at what residents are saying.
A few days away from the presidential election in the United States, and the anticipation is growing, not only in the U.S., but also in Mexico. Many are wondering who will be the winner and what this will mean for the bilateral relationship with their neighbor and commercial partner, Mexico.
Senate.
Kamala Harris or Donald Trump.
I hope Kamala wins.
Kamala.
The winning candidate will implement policies that could affect the day-to-day lives, for better or worse, of more than 100 million Mexicans.
No, we cannot say that for Mexico only Kamala Harris or only Donald Trump is convenient.
No
matter if the president is Democrat or Republican, this relationship has always had its ups and downs.
In the meantime, what do Mexican citizens think? My colleague Carol Suarez spoke with people in the capital.
Do you really care about what happens with the presidential election in the United States?
Por supuesto que me importa.
Of course I care. Mexico has a hand-to-hand relationship with the United States.
¿Qué tanto cree usted que le afecten las políticas que
How much do you think that Donald Trump's or Kamala Harris's politics will affect you?
Sí.
Yes, I think it will. Because to begin, you can see that they say the dollar will rise.
Si el señor Trump, let's say if Mr. Trump wins and closes the border, as he has said before, well, how are all the Mexicans who cannot find jobs here going to leave?
In terms of the bilateral relations, who do you think Mexico would benefit from winning?
Híjole.
Wow.
Kamala Harris es muy nacionalista.
Kamala Harris is very nationalistic, and Trump talks too much. But the advantage we have over Trump is that the Mexican government already knows him.
Es que el gobierno de México ya lo conoce.
The Mexican government is keeping an eye on the outcome. The winner will have to work closely with the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum, to address the most critical issues in the relationship. For her part, Sheinbaum has said she will work with either of the possible winners.
El tema migratorio, seguridad fronteriza.
The immigration issue, border security, fentanyl, illicit arms trafficking, and the USMCA issue are the main pillars on which there is not always agreement.
Economic issues are key in the upcoming years, with the review of the Mexico-U.S.-Canada Free Trade Agreement, which both presidential candidates have expressed interest in renegotiating.
Rather, the question or the approach here is Mexico as a country. As a government, are we ready to face the challenges, whether it is a Kamala Harris or a Donald Trump from January 2025?
This bilateral relation, marked by challenges and opportunities, is more crucial than ever. Regardless of whether Trump or Harris are elected, the decisions taken will not only affect the United States, but will also directly impact the economy and safety on both sides of the border. Nick Valencia, CNN.
Thank you, Nick. Election Day is only a week away, so make sure you clear your schedule and vote.
Closing out our national news segment, we have a story from last night where a group of protesters stood up for the disadvantaged. Protesters gathered outside of Caesars Superdome in New Orleans on Sunday to show their support for the homeless. The demonstration took place ahead of singer Taylor Swift's second concert in the city. Many of the protesters held signs and chanted "Homeless Lives Matter." Last week, Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry called on authorities to remove tents and tarps and move homeless people to sanctioned encampments ahead of Swift's concerts. City leaders tried to delay the cleanups, but the governor's office proceeded. Demonstrators lashed out at both Landry and Swift. They demand government leaders do more to provide housing to those in need. When we return, you'll get an Auburn sports update with Ethan Clements. You're watching Eagle Eye News at 6.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. I'm Ethan Clements, back to give you a recap on all the big stories that occurred in Auburn sports last week, right here on the Plains. Let's get right into it. Beginning with equestrian, the number 1 ranked Tigers faced off against the number 10 ranked University of Tennessee Martin Skyhawks in a matchup of 2 nationally ranked NCEA programs. Auburn's jumping seat riders competed in the flat and fence events. Sophie Steckbeck bolstered the Tigers' push for a win with her score of 90 in the fence event, with the Tigers earning both wins in the jumping seat events with an overall score of 8-2. Fast forward to equestrian's Western events, the Tigers showed why they are the number 1 ranked team in the nation. The horsemanship event included Auburn's Alexia Tordoff, who led the Tigers with a score of 77.5. Auburn's Western riders took the reins in the horsemanship and reining events, taking home both wins with an overall score of 6-4. Final score from Martin, Tennessee was Auburn 14 and UT Martin 6. The Tigers will travel to Stillwater, Oklahoma on Friday to take on number 4 ranked Oklahoma State University at 12 p.m. Central Time. On to volleyball. The Tigers returned home to Neville Arena on Friday to take on the LSU Tigers in SEC play for October's Pink Match. Auburn entered the match with high hopes for a win after coming off a 2-game losing streak. Auburn outside hitter Lauren Dreves had a standout performance with 14 kills and 2 blocks, with outside hitter Madison Shear following close behind with 12 kills and 2 blocks. Setter Peyton Dunn tallied 25 assists for the Tigers as well. Auburn ultimately dropped the match to LSU with a score of 3-1. On Sunday, the Tigers then traveled to Columbia, South Carolina to take on the USC Gamecocks for another round of SEC play. Once again, Lauren Dreves put together a great performance up at the net with 14 kills and 4 blocks for the Tigers. Auburn middle blockers Chelsea McCurdy and Jasmine Okiyama totaled 14 blocks to keep the Tiger defense alive. For the second match in a row, the Tigers dropped the match 3-1. Auburn outside hitter Madison Shear came off the match with quite the accomplishment, earning her 1,000th career kill. Congratulations, Madison. After this past week, Auburn volleyball drops to 14-6 on the season, 4-5 in conference play. The Tigers will look to rebound from their slump on Wednesday against Ole Miss at 6:30 Central Time, right here in Neville Arena for the trick-or-treat takeover match. Moving to women's soccer, this past Thursday, the Tigers kicked off against the Georgia Bulldogs for conference play in the all-Auburn, all-orange match, right here at the Auburn Soccer Complex. Anna Haddock and Mallory Mooney scored 1 goal apiece for the Tigers, while goalkeeper Maddie Prohaska finished the match with 3 saves. Auburn ultimately tied the Bulldogs with a score of 2-2. On Sunday, the Tigers traveled to South Carolina to face off against the number 22 ranked South Carolina Gamecocks for another round of conference play. Auburn's Jordan Crosby scored Auburn's only goal, with Maddie Prohaska putting together her second consecutive match with 3 saves. The Tigers fell to the Gamecocks with a score of 1-2. Auburn women's soccer falls to 12-2-4 on the season before traveling to Pensacola, Florida for the SEC tournament on Sunday. On to football. The Tigers traveled to Lexington, Kentucky as they took on the University of Kentucky Wildcats in their 5th SEC matchup of the season. Auburn running back Jarquez Hunter had a historic night, rushing for 278 yards with 2 touchdowns to give the Tiger offense that much-needed burst of energy. Hunter's 278 rushing yards is the most rushing yards in a game by any player in college football this season. Quarterback Peyton Thorne threw for 172 yards with 20 completions and a touchdown. Thorne connected with wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith for an Auburn touchdown. After a hard-fought battle between the Tigers and the Wildcats, the Tigers came out on top with a score of 24-10, with Auburn winning their first SEC game of the season. Auburn improves to 3-5 on the 2024 season before facing the Vanderbilt Commodores right here at Jordan-Hare Stadium for an early kickoff on Saturday at 11:45 a.m. live on the SEC Network. Remember, Saturday's game will be a stripe out, so be sure to find your section. All right, Auburn fans, Auburn basketball is back for the 2024-25 season. The Tigers tipped off against the Furman Paladins in a preseason charity exhibition match. Auburn's Janai Broom led the Tigers with 18 points and 13 rebounds. 2 newcomers made their Auburn debut. Freshmen Tahad Pettiford and Jakai Howard hinted toward what Auburn fans can expect going into the new season. Pettiford totaled 13 points, shooting 5 for 9 from the field. Howard totaled 10 points of his own for the night. Coach Pearl and the Tigers enter the 2024-25 season with high hopes for a deep March Madness run. And that is all I have for you tonight. When we come back, you'll get a look at a popular food item that's making a comeback at the Golden Arches. I'm Ethan Clements for Eagle Eye Sports, and you're watching Eagle Eye News at 6. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Eagle Eye News at 6. A recent report reveals that more high-earning households are living paycheck to paycheck. The Bank of America released a report that says about 1/5 of U.S. households that earn more than $100,000 in a year are in that situation. The bank says inflation, pricey mortgages, and big utility bills are stretching family budgets thin, even for higher earners. The analysis says some households might find relief as inflation rates drop and kids age out of childcare.
A man in Nebraska is working on a new invention that could help protect children from school shootings. CNN reporter Joe Harris tells us more.
This right here is the kick lock.
Gretna-based business Extreme Ironworks owner Dave Cotton says his kick lock device for inward swinging doors is like an extra lock.
It fits down on the floor. You slide it around the door, and then when you shut the door will swing in here and hit this door stop.
And he says it can provide another layer of security during a school shooting.
The main thing that our locking device would do is buy more time for first responders to get there and handle the situation.
The Cottons say they've already sold a couple to an Omaha metro school, but an internet search shows there are several similar devices out there. And the Nebraska Fire Marshal's office tells 6 News many of them don't meet fire codes, like what's required for easy exits. One scenario they're concerned about is an intruder entering through a classroom window while such a locking device is in place, making a quick and simple exit for students and staff difficult. First responders would also need to be able to open the door from the outside with a key or other device, even if the locking device is engaged. Dave says he has a tool for just that, but says authorities have advised him not to show it.
Pulling it down.
And he says he has another tool that can satisfy ADA requirements.
You kick this with your foot and then you push it out. So I mean, you don't even have to bend over to unlock it.
But the fire marshal's office says it still doesn't satisfy the requirement that the door can still be opened with turning a handle or pushing a panic bar. Dave says he's not giving up on it though.
I feel like I'm up against a brick wall, and I do feel like giving up, but I can't give up because it isn't about me. It's about the kids.
Thank you, Joe. Just this year alone, the U.S. has suffered over 50 mass shootings across schools and universities. Innovations like this are necessary as long as something doesn't change. Ask yourself, is Auburn safe should a shooter target us?
McDonald's announced Sunday it will resume selling Quarter Pounders in all of its restaurants. The news comes after tests showed the beef patties used in McDonald's famous sandwich tested negative for E. coli. An outbreak of E. coli linked to the Quarter Pounder has sickened at least 75 people across 13 states. One person died from the bacteria. Last week, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention issued a food safety alert. The CDC and other federal agencies, including the Food and Drug Administration, are still trying to determine the source of the outbreak. We're out of time, but for more Auburn news, head over to our website, eagleeyeauburn.com, and check out our social media pages. I'm Jillian Byers.
And I'm Lucas Hazelrig. Thank you for watching, and War Eagle.